So the LCK is slowly starting to come to its end of its summer season, as they have just finished week 7 and there's only 2 more weeks to go in total every single whenever it's spring or summer. There's a total of 9 weeks where every single team plays each other twice, and it's slowly starting to come to its end. And during this past week, we had 2 of the big teams, 2 of the biggest teams in the LCK history going off against each other in T1 and Gen.G. And unfortunately for T1, including myself, because I am a bit of a T1 fan, they did lose 2-0. And obviously, to a lot of T1 fans, and not just the fans themselves, but also the players, this was an extremely heartbreaking loss. And after this loss came to conclusion, there is a clip that started to go viral around Twitter of Faker, who is arguably one of the, if not, well, not even arguably one of, arguably the GOAT of League of Legends, and he is seen after this match actually slamming his head up against the wall.
원래는 사이드가 좀 바뀌고 하면 아치리가 이한테는 띄우고 바로 따르면서 싸우고 이런 게 또 만들고 하는데.
So as you can see right there, that is the clip itself. Obviously, you know, it's not necessarily graphic, but it is obviously heartbreaking. And I see a lot of people on like 2 sides when it comes to this. A lot of people feeling bad for Faker, and then a lot of people just going like, oh, why the hell is he doing this over a video game? And I'm going to get into like all the details and why I think that this isn't like necessarily, and like how I can feel sympathy for him, and how I can feel like his certain frustration, because that's what I feel like it really is to obviously a certain extent. So we're gonna go over T1 in the recent times, especially in like this year as well, of why he would, you know, be feeling this way and be feeling frustrated, because T1 at the moment, they really haven't been tracking all that well. Like, I'm going to be honest, you know, like I said, I'm a T1 fan. I tend to I only watch games here and there. So yesterday I didn't unfortunately catch the game live, but I did watch the highlights just to get a bit of knowledge of how the games went for T1 yesterday, and you know how bad they did lose. But just in general, for this whole entire like season, during like this summer right now, they haven't been doing particularly well. Like, they're currently sitting 4th on the LCK standings, and they have lost like some significant games during the summer as well, where it was games where you would see them go ahead, and it's just like in previous times it would be easy wins for them. Like, they lost, and these aren't like, they're not terrible teams that they're losing to, but it's obviously, you know, comparing them to T1, you kind of goes like yeah, they should be winning these games. They did lose to KT Rolster, and then they also lost to FearX as well, which is like 2, you know, best of series where going into that you would kind of expect T1 to win those. And then they also haven't beaten Gen.G and Hanwha Life Esports as well. And not only have they not bet Gen.G like just this summer, but they haven't beaten Gen.G at all this year during like a best of. Like, even comparing their standings to the spring standings, like they only lost 3 series. They only lost 3 series during their spring campaign, where this time around in summer, they've already lost 6 best of 3s, and there's still 2 more weeks to go. And each week there's always each team plays 2 games, so they still got 4 more best of 3s to go, and they've already lost 6. They've already lost twice as many games as they did last spring. And like I said as well, is that they have not beaten Gen.G at all this year. Like, even during the LCK spring playoffs earlier in the year, a few months ago, they lost in the finals to Gen.G 3-2. I watched that live, and that was, you know, extremely heartbreaking loss as well. And not only like have they lost just in like this LCK spring as well, but T1 has come up against Gen.G. It has been Gen.G and T1 in every single LCK final since 2022. That includes spring and summer. And T1 hasn't won against Gen.G in those finals since spring 2022. That's the last time that they beat Gen.G. They have been runners-up to Gen.G ever since that loss. I mean, you can understand why Faker would be this way and be so frustrated about losing to Gen.G. And if we, bring things back to last night and how it went, the games didn't particularly go all that well, especially in terms of Faker, not so much the first game. I mean, the first game, T1 started off with a gold lead. They got first blood, they got the first few kills, they had a kill lead, and then they also had a gold lead at one point. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think they had like a 4K gold lead at one point, and then they just proceeded to throw the game. I mean, they were like one off soul as well, and they didn't end up, I don't even think they got Dragon Soul in the end either, so that's heartbreaking. And then in the second game, T1 ended up getting first blood, and they did have a kill lead, but they didn't have a gold lead at one single point during the game. I think it was like only when they got first blood. And then Chovy also got MVP for that second game as well. And just kind of, Faker didn't play terrible, but Chovy still did outplay Faker as well. To bring the comparison to Faker and Chovy, Faker is easily, without a doubt, the greatest League of Legends player to ever exist. I mean, he is literally the first person to be inducted into the League of Legends Hall of Legends. He is a legend himself. Without him, League would not be as popular as it is. So many people hate on him, but people only like to hate because he's easily the greatest player of all time. I mean, just look at his achievements. 10-time LCK champion, 2016 MSI champion MVP, 2007 MSI champion, and a 5-star world champion, including being the finals MVP in 2016. I mean, that resume just speaks for itself. But in recent times, despite, them winning worlds last year, which I mean was amazing. I went nuts when T1 won worlds last year. They have had a lot of flops, in recent times, and especially when it comes to, the regionals and coming up against Gen.G. And especially when it comes to Faker and Chovy. Because even though Faker is considered the greatest of all time, not just in the mid lane, but in League of Legends altogether, in recent times, if you're talking about right now, Faker, even despite, when it comes to League of Legends, when it comes to the pro scene, players kind of jump in, jump out, of who's the best in this lane, who's the best there, who's the best overall. Players change teams all the time, but when it's come to Faker, he's always been on T1, and he's always been one of the greatest. He's always been at the top of his game. But recent times, Chovy has been that person who's been, in terms of at least for LCK, I'm not sure about the LPL or I mean, it's really only LCK and LPL because, EU and NA don't really compare to either of these regions. But, I'm not sure too much about the LPL, like I said, but when it comes to the LCK, you would kind of put Chovy up there as probably arguably the great, at the moment, the best mid laner. So obviously with all this, I can understand Faker's frustration. Them constantly losing to Gen.G in regionals. They won Worlds last year. But like I said, they haven't won an LCK championship since 2022. And they've lost every single time to Gen.G. They haven't beaten Gen.G at all in a best of 3 or best of 5 series this year. And then Chovy's getting compared to Faker, saying that, Chovy's better than Faker right now at this point in time. I mean, of course he would be. I understand it. And I see so many people talk about how, it's just a video game. Why is this guy getting, hocked up all over this video game? This is their life. This is their sport. I know it's stupid to say, and people are oh, don't compare esports to real sports, but it's about the passion that these guys have. They're on millions of dollars. I don't think some people realize, if you're kind of just a bit of a casual when it comes to the esports scenes, especially when it comes to League of Legends and how big it is in Korea and China, these guys in the LCK, they're on a lot of money. A lot of money. And they are considered A-list celebrities over there as well. It's not like here in Australia or even in America as well, where gamers are kind of, C-list or D-list celebrities. When it comes to Korea and China, their esports scene, especially League of Legends, they are A-list celebrities. So they are at the top of when it comes to their reputation, when it comes to their picture, and Faker, he's seen as the greatest of all time. So of course he's going to be, the pressure is on him immensely, and you see it in so many other sports where they have passion. I mean, how many times do you see tennis players break rackets? See it all the time. all the time. Like, and they have that exact same passion. Like, yeah, it's a video game, but like I said, this is their life. This is their passion. This is what they do. And like, I can kind of relate into a way when I used to play organized sports when I was younger. Like, unfortunately, I didn't get too far because I did have two ACL reconstructions by the age of 20, which is always great. But, you know, I was a pretty decent player. Like, I played Australian rules football and I was pretty decent when I was younger. And whenever we'd lose or I played badly, I get so mad. I get pissed off at myself. And that's what I think it is. I think Faker's just really mad at himself that his team hasn't been performing that much in the summer campaign for T1. And I completely understand it. I mean, you know, people show frustration in a lot of ways, but it was also good to see, you know, Guma and the other boys getting around him as well. I think it was Guma who first noticed like that Faker was, you know, smashing his head up against the wall. You can't really see it. It's a bit of a blurry image, but it's good to see that they were still getting around Faker and, you know, encouraging him. But yeah, it definitely is. Like, I definitely feel for the man. And like I said, it's all about because of the passion that these guys have for this game. And like I said, it's their sport. It's their tennis. It's their football. It's their soccer. It's their whatever. That's what this is to them. And he has so much pressure on him because of the status that he has. But I would like to hear what you guys have to think about all of this down below. That's going to be it for me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.